It's now my third bowl I've tried at the Escudo. It's a Navy Deluxe or something. One of the samples that I got from the Rattlesnake Kid. First bowl I was okay. The second bowl was a little better. I just lit this one up, so we'll see how this one goes. I'm trying to give it a honest chance though, because Mel, she seems to really like it, so I think I probably got enough in there for maybe one more bowl. So we'll see how this goes. But anyway, on to the business. Oh, and I am smoking it. I've been smoking it in this Savinelli Church Warden. So that's what I'm smoking right now. So this is a video response to the Atavistic Empire's contest, and I will tell you up front, sorry that you've already wasted a minute and a half almost in this video. If you are offended by content or language or anything that may be a little bit off color, you might as well just turn this video off and move along. So the question was what band or what individual person or what influenced us early on as far as our interest in music or love for music or desire in music. And the reason I hadn't responded to this video sooner was because it is a very deep subject for me, and it's something that I put a lot of thought into, and I thought, how am I going to respond to this question? And I thought of you know, I could go with a very serious answers, or you know, trying to, I mean, music for me has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, and trying to trace back to where it all started, or what was that one thing that sparked an interest for me, it's hard to pinpoint something. My mother and father were divorced at a very early age. Well, I was a very early age when my mother and father divorced. I guess that makes more sense. And without getting too far into the serious side of my answer, I lived with my mother and stepfather and grew up there, and I visited my father occasionally. We lived very far apart in Michigan. He lived on one end of the state, and I lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, out in the middle of the sticks. So I didn't see him a whole lot, only you know, maybe a couple times a year. And well, I guess that's a subject for another time. But my dad was, or still is, quite a musician, extremely talented. His interests in music are very eclectic, and I think that I picked up a lot of that from him, and some of that from as far as environment and stuff that I picked up from him in my exposure, but also I think as far as natural tendencies and genetics, and you know, the whole nature versus nurture thing. I think that I get a lot from my dad, and interest and desire and love for music is hugely in part, I think, due to him. My mom also is she's got a voice like an angel, and you know, she loves music as well. But I think that the majority of my desires for music come from my dad. So that's the serious answer. Now, what I did want to share, though, a little bit of a funny story, and this is where the offensive stuff comes in. When I was in junior high and early high school and stuff, now I said that I grew up in Michigan, and it was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. I graduated from a high school. I think my graduating class had maybe 60 people in it. At the time that I lived in the town, the population of the town was 2,800 people, and that was the county seat. I think I may have talked about this a little bit in that earlier video. Maybe. I don't remember. But a little podunk town called Munising, like I said, out in the middle of nowhere, survived almost solely on the tourism industry and the local paper mill. So, being in high school, though, I hung around with people that, there was a very small group of us that just didn't seem to fit in with the normal crowd, the football players and cheerleaders and pep rallies and, you know, all that kind of wonderful stuff. So we kind of tended to more or less keep to ourselves, and you know, we were the kids that were riding skateboards and BMX bikes and snowboards and all that kind of thing. And our tastes and desires in music followed that. Now, the problem is, where I grew up, the exposure to a lot of the more hard-to-reach music and underground music and progressive music and whatever, you know, you just couldn't get it. There was no record shop in town. You know, if you wanted to buy a cassette tape or whatever, you know, there wasn't any place to buy any vinyl, and at that point, you know, vinyl was pretty much gone anyway. You know, everything was all about the tapes, and there was, you know, the local drugstore sold tapes in their little thing where you could you know, maybe get the newest Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses or whatever, but you know, if you were trying to find something that was a little more obscure, you know, forget about it. So anytime there was any opportunity where any one of us could get a hold of any little morsel of anything, we did, and we you know, brought it back to the group, and ooh, look at this this new Dead Milkmen thing I found, or ooh, have you heard this new group Soundgarden, or you know, at the time Soundgarden was still pretty underground, but oh, this Jane's Addiction thing, or you know, that kind of thing. So I had a buddy of mine and I, we went one summer, we went to visit my grandparents and stay with them for a weekend or a week or whatever on their at their house on the lake down in the lower part of Michigan. And we had one day where they took us into town, into, I believe it was Alpena, and there was a little mall there that had a little record shop, or a little music shop, and so me and my buddy, we went to this store, and the grandparents are doing their thing, and I found this tape there, and I bought it. Simply because the name of the band intrigued me. I was like, well, shoot. With a name like the Butthole Surfers, this has got to be crazy. This has got to be some insane shit. So I went ahead and I bought this tape by the Butthole Surfers, and it was called the Widowmaker EP. And I tucked it away and brought it with me back to my grandparents' house, and as soon as I could, I took my my Walkman and put my headphones in, and what is this craziness, this Butthole Surfers? Now, you must understand at this point that my my grandparents are Baptist, and they are extremely conservative. So the next day, me and my buddy were out playing around the grandparents' house, and my grandmother was in the room that we were staying in and kind of straightening up, and she found this tape. And not only was it by a band called the Butthole Surfers, but there was the song, the last song on this EP is called Booze, Tobacco, Dope, Pussy, and Cars. She about had a heart attack. Brought it to my grandfather's attention. He brought it to my attention, and it's like, what is this that you're bringing into my home? He about came unglued. Next day, we went right back to that mall, and he brought that tape and went up to the person at the counter and said, "What are you doing selling this to a young teenage kid? And you know they have no business having this. You have no business selling it. This is filth. This is garbage." So that was my first experience with the Butthole Surfers. And interestingly enough, I have since reacquired that copy of the well, not that exact copy, but I did get the on CD the Widowmaker EP, and sometime maybe I'll play it for you. The song called Booze, Tobacco, Dope, Pussy, and Cars. I was going to do it today, but I mean, shoot, we're already up to 12 minutes on the video, and I think I've rambled on long enough. So that's my story about music and some of the influence that it's had on me, and some of the origins of my interest in music. So that's it for my entry to your contest, and good luck to everybody else. I've enjoyed listening to the stories, and this was a great idea that you had about music. I mean, I love music, and I've really enjoyed listening to other people's entries and hearing some of people's backgrounds and their origins of their taste in music. So this is a really, really good idea, and I appreciate you putting on this contest. So here's to you.